Hello, this is Paul with the Oaken Knight, and I'm here today to give you a short thumbnail review of U-Boat, the board game, which recently showed up at my front door and is now on my gaming table. As there are already several playthrough videos out there that are of very good quality, I feel no need to repeat that here, but rather what I want to do is to just tell you what I think of it, strengths, weaknesses, so you can make your own judgment as far as is this a game that you want to try to hunt down and add to your collection. Looking at the game, well, physically it's beautiful. Physically it is, it's no joke. I mean, it's all put together very nicely. The U-Boat goes together easily. I mean, take your time with it a little bit, but if you take even a short amount of time with it, you're going to get it together very easily, quickly, and you're not going to damage it. The only caveat I would give you is when you're putting together the circular plotting tool, just be careful you get it all together right, because when you put that pin through it, if you forgot the little arrow that goes on top like I did, I had to actually take it to a drill press to get it to come apart again and actually drill out the pin a little bit, and so I could get the pin out and then put the top layer of this layer cake together. There is a section in the rule book that goes through in detail how you put it together, so take your time with it, read the rules, and then make sure you got it right before you put that centerpiece in to lock it together. Other than that, it works fine. It's an interesting tool. I've never seen one like this before, and I think I'm going to put it to good use. Now, what I'd like to do is talk about the game from two different perspectives. One perspective is the social group play where you have four guys around a table where you are each taking on a role of a senior officer on board the submarine. In this realm, I think this is the heart and soul of the game, and this is what it was designed for. And in my view, I think it succeeds magnificently in that regard. If I was back in college, 40 years ago, with my buddies that I had at the time, and we had this on the table, it really, really would have been a good time. I think if you have a stable gaming group, people you know that you like to get together with, and I would highly recommend this. You're going to have I don't know how you could not have a good time with it. The back and forth between the people who are playing different roles in the submarine, trying to prosecute a contact to where you can actually take your shot, and then surviving the counterattack by the destroyers. It's going to be fun, and you're going to have to work together as a team to have a chance to get through that. So in that respect, the game is a resounding success. It's doing what it intends to do. Now, the systems come forward when you're playing solo, because when you're playing solo, you don't have that social interaction. So really all that's left is the systems the game provides you with to operate the submarine and to manage the crew. And this is where I think that there are going to be some people who say, well, maybe this is not doing what I want it to do. And what I mean by that is that each individual crewman has three actions that they can take during their shift. They divide up into 6-hour shifts. For the three actions that an individual crewman can take during his watch, let's say he's a helmsman. Okay, so that means that if he's skilled at operating the helm, he can take 3 actions in that position per 6-hour period. That means he can turn the boat a total of 3 times. In the rules as written, once you have used up all of the actions, all 3 of the actions that a crewman has, and it could be less if you had some fatigue carryover from a prior watch, it might be less than 3. But at most you're going to have 3 things if you're skilled in the position, 3 things you can do. So that means the helmsman in a 6-hour time period can turn the boat 3 times. When you're playing the game solo without the social aspects of the game, that feels like a very artificial limitation. It just doesn't feel right when you don't have the interactions with other people that are giving you the fun that you're enjoying in the game. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. And of course it isn't right compared to what a U-boat could actually do. It's almost like if the Russian Navy had political officers on board limiting what the boat could do and what the captain could order. This has got a union boss there where it says, sorry, you can only do 3 turns in 6 hours. That's it. That's what you get. Now, what they've done, and I think they must have received comments on this, because the rules as written say 3. Okay, fine. But if you go into the software app that you can download on your iPad, iPhone, whatever, that you absolutely need to play the game, they have rules changes in there. And most of those rule changes are surround giving you more flexibility to use your crewman during a watch, or to possibly have more orders that the captain can give. You're making trades. Once you go up to that certain point, you get your three. For example, the helmsman with his 3 turns. There will be some trade-offs if you go beyond that point, but at least they're making it possible. All right, but still, it's like, okay, if you really want a submarine simulation, it should not be any issue, how many times the helmsman turns the boat. It's just not a reasonable limitation when it comes to that. And as an example of how that feels when you're playing, let's say you're on the surface. Your watchman says, okay, you've got to contact at a certain heading. Say, okay, great, or at a certain bearing. So you give an order to turn onto an attack vector. Okay, well, there your helm is you just use one of their available 3 actions. And you go in and you make your torpedo attack. You either hit or miss, whatever. But now the escort is after you. Well, you're going to order a submerging. You're going to order the sub to submerge. Okay, that's going to be action 2 for the helmsman. And then you are also going to want to change heading, because you don't want to stay on the same heading that you were on when you were going in for the attack. So you're going to turn the boat. Well, 1, 2, 3, that's it. If in the rules is written, when that destroyer comes up to you, you're going to have to just swallow the attack, because you can't turn unless you order a mobilization, get a different crewman in there who are unskilled at that position, and they will burn 2 actions, 2 activations of their 3, assuming they were fresh. So in other words, even if you ordered replacement crew in, you'd only get 1 more turn of the boat, and you would be burning out your crew pretty quickly. So the changes they made help that, but still you'd have definite limitations for what you're going to be able to do. If the destroyer is coming after you and not giving up, and you're having to do maneuvers down below to try to escape, you're going to burn through activations. You're going to have fatigued crew. You're going to have other issues. Second thing is, once you start going into having to use morale instead of your orders track, you're on the morale check because you've used up all of your basically orders that don't fatigue your crew. It's like your submarine all of a sudden becomes some kind of OSHA hazard, where guys are getting injured all over the place just because you're giving them orders to do something. For gameplay, socially, it's fun. But for a simulation, when you're doing it by yourself, it feels very artificial that your guys are going to be coming out with more and more serious injuries just because you're asking them to do things that they know have to be done. Like, hey man, we got to turn the submarine because the guy just dropped depth charges on us. That should not be something that causes undue stress to the point where guys are getting injured. Personal opinion, you have to make up your own mind. So with those caveats, I would say that absolutely, the game is well put together, beautiful game, nicely done, very, very nicely done. With a group of people, I think the game will be a blast. I think you're going to have a really good time with the right group of people who are together to play a fun game that's not going to take, if it's a single mission, I don't know, maybe a couple hours to play it. You'll probably get in a couple of them in the evening if you know what you're doing and once you get into the flow of it. But by yourself, where you're running all 4 of the major roles that you're playing in the submarine, plus all the associated crew, you feel limited. You feel limited, and limited in ways that really don't track towards anything historical. The limitations really have no historical basis. So with that, I think everyone, as usual, make up your own mind what you think. So with those caveats, I would say I like the game. I'm happy to have it. I think I got my money's worth, and I think you will too. So this is Paul for the Oaken Knight, and if you enjoy listening to what I have to say, please subscribe to my channel. With that, have a pleasant evening, and take care.